Good afternoon and welcome to the Westchester Publishing Services Introduction to the Client Portal webinar. We are still waiting for a few more attendees to log in, so we'll get everything underway in about another minute. Okay, we're going to get this webinar started. It looks like just about everybody has gotten logged in. I'll start off by introducing myself. My name is Nicole Tomasi, and I'm the Marketing and Conference Manager here at Westchester. I'm joined today by my colleague, Joseph Atanasio, who is Westchester's Client Portal Implementation Manager. Joe is going to be providing you with an informative session about the Client Portal and how you can integrate it into your editorial and composition workflow for projects that Westchester provides services on. Before we begin, please note that your microphones are muted and will remain so throughout the webinar. We invite you to enter any questions you have in the questions area at the lower right-hand portion of the webinar window. We will answer as many questions as possible at the conclusion of the presentation, and you will be emailed a recording of today's webinar along with answers to the questions that are submitted during today's session. For those of you who aren't familiar with Westchester, we are a US-based employee-owned company founded in 1969, and we're headquartered in Danbury, Connecticut. We have additional offices in Dayton, Ohio, Warwickshire, England, and Chennai, Noida, India. Westchester provides editorial and production services for publishers, with our K-12 division offering support as far upstream as content development. We are proud to provide pre-press services for more than 200 publishers globally on over 4,000 book, journal, and white paper projects annually. In today's session, Joe will be giving you an overview of several key features of the Client Portal, including how to use the dashboard, how to access project assets and timelines for your editorial and composition projects assigned to Westchester, and the reporting features that make project management a more transparent and efficient process for you and your team. Joe, are you ready to show us some of the Client Portal's helpful features?
I am. So our portal is a web-based system. You won't have to download any applications. You won't have to do remote access. You just go onto a website where wherever you have internet, log in using your email and the password that we'll provide you. The first time you log in, you'll then go change your password. But then you'll be taken to your dashboard from then on whenever you log in. Period. On the dashboard, this is all of your open projects that are currently with Westchester. The portal maintains records as far back as January 1st, 2017, but your dashboard is only your open items. Any additional projects that you want to look up, whether it's been completed or if you have hundreds of projects on your dashboard, you can use the job lookup section to look up titles by title, author, your customer job number if it's in the portal. I'll get into that in a minute. Our job number, the author, or DOI if it is a journal article. So get back to the dashboard. And what the dashboard is showing you is all metadata information that is currently being tracked about that particular project that you have requested. Every user's dashboard is set up individually, where you can set up exactly what metadata fields you would like to see, and you won't impact the other people in your group. So you can set up your own filters, you can set up your own fields, and you access that through settings. Configuring columns will allow you to change what is currently being displayed. What we're looking at right now is prefix and job number, which are Westchester's internal numbers. Prefix represents you as the client, plus whether it's full service, comp only, K-12, etc. And then our job number, who the author is, what the title is, the progress bar, which is a visual representation of the schedule, which I will show more of when we look at an actual project, the schedule type, whether it is standard or rush, who the PE at Westchester is, and then in addition, you can have, when the project is set to end, searchable text, which you can use in conjunction with our filter system up here, as well as author email, corresponding authors, and we'll get into all that when we look at an actual project. Your filter allows you to either set up filters based off of when a project might be set to come off, or by, if you were working with a bunch of different PEs, you might set filters up by PE, or you can use the searchable text, which is a custom field that you're able to put whatever information you want into to generate a more specific filter based on information that we might not necessarily be tracking. So you'll see we've created a winter release filter, which looks in the searchable text field for the phrase winter, and it filtered our search results down into only 2, which are set up for winter release. And you can remove the filter, you can add other ones. In addition, you will also have reporting, which we will provide you with these 2 reports automatically by default, and these are related to the schedule. Each of these dots represents a cluster, and I'll show you what those look like when I go into the project, but each of those clusters is a grouping of similar workflows. And each workflow is tagged as either publisher-owned or Westchester-owned. A publisher-owned workflow indicates that it is something that Westchester is not handling. Final pages with client for approval, first pass pages with author for review. Those are all publisher-owned stages. So you have a report that tells you which stages are due this week and which stages are overdue. So if we look at the due this week and click view, we'll see that all of these stages have either planned or end dates due to start this week. You'll see it gives you the actual start and the actual end date. So in this case, it's not easy being green. It was set to start on the 17th and end on the 23rd. We're able to use this as a checklist to say, yes, this is all set and taken care of. In addition, the overdue looks for these same types of stages and looks to see if there are any of them that are marked as overdue, which indicates that we have not yet received it. So you can use this list to see your problem projects where you might want to check and if it's perfectly understandable and you know why all of those items are marked as overdue, that's great, but it's a good way to check and make sure that there isn't anything that you're not aware of. We return to the dashboard by using the book button. And then the last item on the dashboard is the timeline, which takes these project dots and puts them on a Gantt chart that displays each of the cluster from the start date to an end date, color codes it the same as on the dashboard, blue for completed projects, green for completed workflows, green for work in progress, gray for yet to start, and red for overdue. And you can set this up for a weekly view, a monthly view, or 3 months, and you can use it to see what's going to happen when, and you can look down the line and see, is there a particular point in time where I've got nothing going on for projects. And if we look at the project itself, you can enter the project by either clicking on the job number, the title, or the customer job number if it is in the field and if it is on the dashboard. It takes you to the basic info page, which contains all of the basic information about your project, the title, our job numbers, whether it is an embargoed text, ISBNs, start date, if the job is open or if it's been put on hold, standard or rush schedule, received date, end date, as well as the expected or the services that we're providing for it. In the second tab, you have access to the contact list, which contains the author and the email for the author if we're going to be reaching out to them. The dots represent if they are the lead author, and the orange is corresponding. If you have a title that has more than one author, they would all be listed here, and you'd have the dots on who's the lead author of record and who is the person that we're supposed to contact. You've got the Westchester production person, and we've got the publisher contact, which is the point of contact at the client for this title. The publisher tab is the only tab that you will have access to modify data on. This is where you can put in the job number for your own internal records. You know, in this instance, Acme Client uses CL48712 in their systems to represent this book. It's a way for you to have it where you don't have to, you know, oh, what was that? What's the job number that Westchester uses on this? You know, you've got your own records in there. You've got searchable text that you can fill in with whatever information you need to create a more useful filter for yourself. Publication date, print date, and then this field right here, WPS comments for publisher, are notes from your PE directly to you that might explain why an item is overdue or, you know, what they're waiting on. This portal does not replace your Westchester point of contact. This is supposed to help increase the flow of conversation in between you and Westchester, answer some questions, that way you don't necessarily have to go to them all the time if you you know, need an answer immediately, but it's an inflow of information from our end to yours. The artwork tab is a conglomeration of design and artwork, as well as a couple of other things. You've got your design details here in the middle, whether it's part of a template, the trim size, number of columns, number of colors, if there's a sample, materials that we've received and we're waiting on, as well as number of artwork pieces, whether it's halftones, line arts, tables, and if any of it needs retouching or redrawing or anything along those lines. The upload tab is very similar to an FTP site, but in our opinion, it's a little bit better, because what the upload tab does is it connects directly to our Dropbox and allows us to share files back and forth from our end to you and from your end to us. So we can put first draft pages here, second draft, final pages, any artwork that needs to be reviewed or replacement that needs to be sent can all be stored here. It's arranged by who sent it and the date it was sent on. You can download the file by clicking on the name. You can see what workflow it's associated with, as well as description for the items. And then you can get copies of the shareable link and you can open it directly in Dropbox. And if you look down here, you actually have access to edit these ones, because in addition to us sending files to you, you can send files to us directly through the upload tab. The reason why this is beneficial is because these files will be associated with this job from now until the end of the portal. They are not going to be removed. You can come back to a job that, you know, was completed today. You can come back to it in 3 years and download all of those old files. You can get that final file for the next edition review without having to worry about, you know, where did those files end up. And to show you just some of your ability, you can just click on go to Dropbox, and it opens up in the web browser the Dropbox preview of the file itself, whether it's art, whether it's a Word file, whether it's PDF. Schedule tab is an expanded version of that progress bar that we saw on the dashboard and on the Gantt chart. Each of these all capped sections are those clusters, each one representing a dot. And inside you can see the workflows that are associated with that cluster. You've got planned start and planned end for each workflow, as well as the actual start and the actual end. And then very quickly you can look down the side and see what the status is for each of the workflows. Obviously completed for stuff that has been finished, work in progress. If an item was late, it would be overdue, and you would have a calculator in red over here telling you how many days late the project, the workflow was behind. And the last tab are reports that are basic to that single project. So you've got the order confirmation report, which is a one sheet of the project itself. And this is the same report that you get at the beginning of a job, which breaks down, the title, the design details, the artwork, services, and some very specific schedule items. And then the last item is the customer schedule report, which takes the schedule from the previous tab, takes out those clusters, and just lists the workflow from start to finish. And as you see, it will continually update as the schedule is being updated on our end. So you have access to these files at the beginning when the project is sent to you, and then you have access to the file from then on, but you'll see it will continually update as the PE updates the information. In addition to reporting, you have this reports subheading over on the left. It will be empty when you log in for the first time, but if there are reports that you would like to see that are not based on retrieving data, if they involve calculations such as how many manuscript pages do we send in a month, that would be something that we would create and then would be listed under this reports tab over here, where you can then look and you can say how many were created in 2018 and so on and so forth. Underneath that, you have access to the user manual, which is a more in-depth version of everything that we have gone over today, as well as a little bit more. It's where you will go for how to do pretty much anything that you will need to do on the portal. The last thing I want to talk about is the start a project. If you would like to use the portal to start a project, as opposed to emailing files over and emailing the transmittal separately, what you can do is go to start a project, select whether it's going to be full service or comp only, put the title in, add the author and the due date, as well as comments, and then click save. What this does is it sends an email to us, as well as to Susan Baker or Terry, depending on what service year the project is going to fall under. And then it allows you to use the upload tab immediately and start uploading files as soon as you create it, as opposed to having to wait for the file or for the project to be entered into the portal. And on that, I believe we are all set.
Okay, great. Thank you, Joe, for that excellent overview of the Westchester Client Portal. As you have just seen, the Client Portal makes management of your publishing plan more efficient by giving you unparalleled visibility to the status of your projects. Westchester is pleased to provide this to our clients. Westchester is pleased to provide our clients with access to this secure project status platform at no additional charge. As Joe mentioned earlier in the presentation, we are also able to create customized reporting that's tailored to your specific needs. We've received some questions during the presentation and we'll answer some of them now. As a reminder, your microphones are still muted, so if you do have any questions as we go through this Q&A, please enter those in the panel at the lower right-hand side of the webinar screen. Let's start with this question over here. I think you touched on this briefly in the presentation, Joe, but will each person on my staff receive a unique password?
Yes, everyone that you would like to have access to the portal will have their own user profiles, which enable them to customize filters, dashboards, without impacting other users. We'll provide with an initial password, and then the user will change them when they log in.
Okay, great. All right, the next question I have here is, am I able to see emails between your staff and my authors?
Yes, as long as the portal is copied on email correspondence and the Westchester job number is included in the subject line, the portal will capture the email and display it in the portal with the job. At the top right-hand corner, there will be an email icon that you'll be able to click on and display all of the emails that the portal has associated with that job. The system also works if you include your internal job number in the subject line, but that only works if that job number is on the publisher tab.
Great, that's a very helpful feature to have. Okay, the next question I have here is, what if my company doesn't encourage us to use Dropbox? Are we still able to send files to you via other means?
Yeah, the upload tab is only a suggestion to help maintain organization and version control throughout the process and beyond. We can continue using FTP or email if it's something you are more comfortable with, but it's entirely up to you.
Okay, the next question I have here is, how often is the data updated in the portal?
Data is updated in real time. The portal is meant to provide transparency into our internal system. So as a project moves through the process, our staff is updating the schedule and the information available in the portal, which is then viewable by you.
Okay. And the next question we received is, for book projects, can we get application and InDesign files as a download via the portal at the end of the project?
Yes, any project that can be uploaded into Dropbox can be uploaded through the portal and then downloaded. So application for any files type.
Okay, and a follow-on question to that is, can I change the info that's in the portal?
No, the only information that you have access to change is located on the publisher tab for the project. If there's something that looks incorrect or something that needs to change, you'd still reach out to your Westchester person working on the title, and then they would make the changes in the portal for you.
Okay, and this is a question in regards to page proofs. Can we send the page proof PDFs to our authors using the shareable link in the portal?
Yes, if you are sending the pages to the author, you would go to the upload, and you're using the upload feature, you would go to the upload tab, you would go to the file that you would like to use, click on that shareable link, and it will copy that link to your clipboard and then paste that into an email. And then your author will have access to the file that you're looking at by clicking on that link.
Excellent. All right. Next question, in the publisher tab, can we send notes or comments to Westchester?
So not yet. You will still be contacting your Westchester contact through email or through the phone. However, we are looking at ways to for you to do that. But right now you're still going to be using email or telephone.
Okay. And I know you touched on this earlier, but it certainly is worth asking again. Does the portal replace my Westchester project manager?
No, the portal enables you to work more closely with them by providing real-time updates on your projects, but you still have your project manager and they're still your point of contact for issues.
I'm sure that comes as a great relief to a lot of our attendees of today's webinar. Another question, because this is a real-time application, is can I view the portal on my iPad or mobile device?
Yes, the portal is viewable on iPads, it's viewable on smartphones. However, it is optimized for a desktop or a laptop, though we're always trying to make improvements. So any way and anywhere you have access to the internet, you have access to our portal.
That's excellent. And we have time for one more question here. And this one is kind of near and dear to my heart because I understand this. I'm not the best with software. Can your staff build reports for me if I tell you what I want to see?
Yes, if you tell us the kind of information you want displayed, whether it's certain metadata fields or certain comparisons and calculations, let us know and we can build a report for you free of charge. And it will either appear in that drop down where the publisher owned stages reports were, or it'll be on the left-hand side, depending on the information being requested.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Joe, both for the presentation of the webinar and for answering all these excellent questions that we received. I want to thank everybody who took the time to join us for today's webinar about Westchester's Client Portal. We hope the information that we shared with you showed how you can easily and securely incorporate the Client Portal into your editorial or composition projects. As Joe mentioned, we are continually adding capabilities to the Client Portal based on our clients' feedback, and we welcome any input that you would like to share with us. If you have any questions after today's webinar, or if you're interested in finding out how you can integrate the Client Portal into your project workflow, please contact us anytime at portal@westchesterpubservices.com. Thank you again for attending the Westchester Client Portal webinar, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.